Welcome back, everyone. Today we're talking about concussions again, and if you missed our first video on concussions, I highly recommend you go back, take a look at that. It gives you more detail of how a concussion is formed, what are some of the main signs and symptoms and underlying signs, and you actually get to see me get a concussion too in there. I showed a clip in there, so go back, check that out. But for today, we're gonna go quickly through this and we'll talk about how to treat a concussion. So my name is Dr. Ryan and I'm with Vallejo Health and Wellness, and let's jump into it here today. So a concussion is mainly comes from a head trauma. So any blunt force trauma to the head can cause a concussion. And some of the main signs, I'm talking top level signs and symptoms that you would have are headaches, nauseousness, fatigue, sensitivity to lights or sounds, but those are the top level signs and symptoms that people very readily see. Some underlying things that people don't realize is digestion problems can come from it, heart palpitations can come from it, mood swings, hormonal influxes in and out, and we do want to be conscious of those as well when we're dealing with concussions. So who can get them? Anybody can get them. If you have a brain, you can get a concussion. So we're talking about little kids with falling at parks, teenagers with high school sports or athletes, even adults too. I've seen some people in car accidents or even slip and falls from the job. So anybody can get them. And we do want to get down to the bottom of what is going on, what is injured in the brain. A lot of people think that, hey, if you get a concussion, the whole brain is hurt. That's not true. Only a couple of areas or even a few areas may be injured. So we do want to take a look at and figure out, okay, which part of the brain is injured so we can heal that area. And we do have 3 goals for concussions that I covered in last time. Number 1, we do want to reduce the symptoms. We do want to get you back up and functioning again, but that's not the only goal that we have for concussions. We do want to heal the area of what's hurt because the symptoms will only come back and be worse next time if you do not heal from it. But then we also want to prevent future injuries as well. So that was what was covered in the last video, much more detailed and greater level of concentration on those. But for today, we're going to talk about what you can do to heal. And here we go. So the first one that you can do is, okay, first figure out, okay, what caused the injury in the first place. Next step, stop doing it. And I know it sounds a little facetious and it sounds kind of, I don't want to say idiotic from saying that, but sometimes you just stop doing what caused the injury in the first place. And there's actually a few people that are at risk of doing things over and over and over again. Number 1 is actually those people that do not realize they have a concussion. And so they get a concussion and they will just continue doing it again. The next group of people is actually athletes as well. In the last video, I showed a clip of me getting a concussion, and to be honest, I got the concussion, and then I shook it off and got back in there and kept going. And I do see athletes that do that. They get a blunt force trauma, either in like football or in soccer, and they get that instant headache, and they just shake it off. They just ignore it, and they keep pushing forwards. You know, they have that whole no pain, no gain mentality of sports, but they don't realize is not all pain is good. So we do want to make sure that the people that are concussed stop doing what originally gave them a concussion in the first place. I know that's simple, but it's actually hard for some people to not stop. So, next thing that you can do is get a functional neurological exam. And what this does is it actually will figure out, okay, what part of the brain is injured. And I'll give you an example. Let's say I go into the doctor and I tell the doctor, hey, my arm hurts. Right away for the doctor, it sets off a whole list of questions. Okay, where does it hurt? Okay, it's my forearm. It's my shoulder. It's my elbow. It's my wrist. You see where I'm going with this? Next part is okay, what is actually causing that pain? Is it muscular? Is it joint? Is it bone? Is it nerve? Then the next question is it, I have pain here, but is it actually being caused from somewhere else? Referral of pain. You see where I'm going with this? Same thing with the brain is as soon as you step into a doctor's office and you are reporting a concussion, a whole series of questions should be going through the doctor's head. Okay, where in the brain is it hurting? What are some of the symptoms and the signs that are exhibiting because that certain part is injured? And then the next part is actually, okay, how do we step forward and create a treatment plan for what area was hurt? Because I'm going to give people different advice for different parts of the brain that is injured. So a lot of the exercises that I will recommend, so let's say this part of the brain right here is the temporal part of the brain, which actually is for emotions and memory. So I will give memory tasks, memory exercises to help boost that area. And actually what is interesting, so let's go to like the frontal lobe of the brain. This is where a lot of your attention to decision-making skills come from. So I will have people focus on certain things, on like a point on a wall, or I'll have them watch a screen, and I'll have them focus and follow along a certain point on a TV screen, and I'll force them to concentrate, and I'll force them to pay attention to certain things. And actually what's really interesting is when that part of the brain is exercised more blood flow comes to that area because it's being used. Blood flow is good because it will bring the nutrients and healing supplies that part of the brain and the building blocks that part of the brain needs to heal from the concussion. So right away, when someone comes in for a concussion, we need to figure out, okay, what part of the brain is injured? And each part of the brain that it has a different exercise that we can use, or a different treatment regimen that we can use to heal that area. So, continuing on, what else is injured? When you have a blunt force trauma, your brain isn't the only thing that gets injured. So we need to address, hey, is your neck injured? Is your upper back injured? Do you have any sprained strains? Do you have any misalignments? And we need to go in and heal those areas too. You mainly are focusing on the brain because that's where a lot of the symptoms are coming from, but we can't ignore the secondary sites that may be injured as well. So, I do want to talk about rest. This resting is good to a certain point. Now, if we think of rest as a continuum, one side we have just complete rest. You're not doing anything, you're just laying in bed, staring at the ceiling, not doing anything, no concentration. And on the other side, you're not resting. You are continuing to push forward. And there's somewhere in that line where you need to be. Some people may be down closer to complete rest, complete isolation, complete doing nothing. Some people may be further up on the line. And this is where we need to be careful, because resting is not technically, may not heal the area. It may take away some of the symptoms, but if we are only resting, we're not doing the things that will actually heal the brain, like the exercise and the nutrition side of it. So I do want you to rest. Rest is good, but don't let that be the only thing that you're doing. So we do want to rest, and what I would say is find that tipping point. You can rest, but do a few things. Do those exercises that your doctor will suggest, do the nutrition side of it, and find that activity level that won't exacerbate your symptoms. I've found we can do a certain amount of exercises that are helpful, and then we get to a certain point, a certain extent where all of a sudden you're doing too much and you're having more headaches. and you're seeing more fatigue, and you're seeing more sensitivity. And so as soon as we get to that level, we need to back down a little bit and continue where you're able to maintain without those symptoms. So sometimes you need to step away from work. Sometimes you need to step away from school. Sitting in class all day long for 8 hours at a time may exacerbate your headaches, may exacerbate the pain and all the symptoms that you're having. So stepping away from school or stepping away from work actually may be a good thing. But I don't want you to stay there in the rest mode for the rest of your life. We need to get you back in. So I want to find that tipping point of where can you exert yourself, but I don't want you to exert yourself too much and push more pain upon you. So we want to find that line. So next part is the inflammation and actually the immune response. And a lot of people think the inflammation is bad. It is bad in chronic situations. If your body is constantly being inflamed, yes, that is bad. We want to be able to control that inflammation. We want to bring that inflammation down. But actually, inflammation in an acute situation is good. It is your body's natural response to become inflamed. And here's why. Inflammation will actually bring your immune cells, will bring fluids, it will bring more blood, more oxygen, and it will bring more building blocks to that area that is hurt. So, inflammation is good. Too much inflammation is bad. So we understand that part. So what we do is we do want a healthy, controlled immune response. We do want a healthy inflammation response to your body. So what can we do for the inflammation that will occur in your brain when you get concussion? Because there will be inflammation in your brain when you do get concussed. And here's what we can do. We can give you certain supplements. We can give you certain nutrition. Excuse me while I drop my clicker here. That will encourage a good, healthy response to your immune system, good, healthy response to your inflammation. And one of these is Neuroflam. Neuroflam is an Apex product from Apex Genesis, and it will actually help with the immune response and help to control and level out the inflammation so you don't have too much, but at the same time you don't have too little inflammation to help the healing process. Next would be the turmeric. That is a wonderful, wonderful supplement, wonderful herb to help you with that immune response. And I also put vitamin C, vitamin D. They don't specifically help with the inflammation, but it helps with the support roles and the support things to help with the immune and inflammation responses. So next part with the nutrition, with the inflammation and the immune response, there's a couple of things to cut out. Processed sugars. Processed sugars, what we found is as soon as you eat some processed sugar, your immune response is actually delayed and hampered from 6, 7, 8, maybe 8 hours at a time. And we do want the immune system to be up and active while you're being concussed. It's going to ward off a lot of the things that are coming from the inflammation, but we don't want you to be sick at the same time as well. So we do want a good, healthy immune response. A couple other things, dairy and gluten will also affect your digestive role, so you're not allowing the good supplements and good nutrition that you're getting into your body. So sugars, dairy, gluten, stay away from those. Don't allow yourself to take those in, and they'll actually help the healing process go much quicker. Support for your brain. A lot of people don't know this, but 60% of your brain is fat. And what we need for that is good, healthy fats. We do need to be able to support your brain in a way that your brain is getting the fat so it can replace some of the fats that may be injured. So good, healthy fats, talking like nuts, avocados, things like that, do take in a good amount of healthy fats through your nutrition. But what I will also say is omega-3s, a good fish oil, but then also a supplement called DHA, and that's also a type of fatty acid as well. So we do want you to support your brain through what you're eating and putting into your body. Next part is we don't just want to give your brain fats, but we want to give you the building blocks as well. and that will actually help to reconnect some of those connections, the neural connections that are lost, and help support the neurons in your brain. And that actually is coming from a supplement called Nitric Balance that we have here in the office. And I do highly suggest this one. If you want to do a bare minimum, I would say get on the DHA, get on the Nitric Balance, get the NeuroFlam. Those will be able to help you significantly right there. So do those things at least. So, but as we close up here, allow yourself to heal. Don't just manage your symptoms. We do want to help you reduce the symptoms, reduce the headaches, and reduce the irritability that you're having, but don't stop there when those leave. Allow your brain to get fully healed. And that is going to take time. It is going to take visits into the office. Make sure you're doing the things such as the exercising, the rest, getting the nutrition in you, or even cutting some of the nutrition out that is hampering the healing process. So allow yourself to do that. Don't allow the symptoms to dictate your treatment, because a lot of times when the symptoms go away, there may still be underlying things. So that's where in the previous video we talked about that gentleman who had digestive issues, didn't have any other concussion symptoms, but he had problems digesting foods, and it was because of the concussion. So make sure you're healing fully from the concussion. My name is Dr. Ryan, and I'm with Vallejo Health and Wellness. And if you are suffering from a concussion, come on in. We'd love to help you and give you a specific treatment plan for what area of the brain is hurting. So we'd love to do that for you. Till next video, we love to see you. Subscribe on our YouTube list. We have videos coming out all the time. Jump on our Facebook page. We do have many articles going out there, and actually specials that we have here in the office. So take advantage of those as well. So till next time, you guys have a good day. God bless.